Hi guys, it's about 5:30. I just got done working and I did the live streaming thing last night. I got online and I found an encoder and I installed it and I watched YouTube videos about it and figured out what to do. And then apparently I only got about 8 minutes of video, so and a lot of people were trying to see it but weren't able to see it, and it was a big mess. So though I gave it my best shot, it's not something I'll probably do again soon. But for today's vlog, which would be my 1001st daily vlog, because I did a couple hundred vlogs before I started doing daily vlogs, but my 1001st daily vlog, I'm going to answer these questions that everybody didn't get the answers to yesterday. So that's what I'm going to do. There was nothing big that happened today. I just took bug calls, the usual day. But I do have the questions up here, and I'm going to run through them again because most of them didn't show up on the video or people couldn't see them. But I do want to answer them. I want to make sure you have your answers. I'm going to do them all, even though you saw the first few minutes. I'm just going to do them all, okay? John Harrison asked, how did I get into vlogging? I got into vlogging because on a bored afternoon, I was going through YouTube and I found a lady talking about makeup, and I thought, wow, why would somebody get on there and talk about makeup like it's a commercial or something? But she was talking about the ones she liked and didn't like. I'm not a big fan of makeup, but it kind of caught my eye, and so I started watching her the next day and the next day, and then I found out there's other people that also do this by looking at her comments, and I thought, wow, that's kind of neat. And then I found out about Vlogtober, I think, came up, and then about the different months where people vlog daily, so I tried one of those, and I did a few vlogs here and there, and it just evolved into eventually I decided I wanted to try my hand at daily vlogging, and that's how I did it. How long is it since Pete rode a motorbike? That would be 1998, he said. He would probably like one now, I'm guessing, but now he's on blood thinners, and if anything happened, no. My favorite meal depends on the day. Some days I like different things, and I don't have any one favorite. Some days I like steaks, just grilled steaks, rare to medium rare, basically just seared on the outside. Pizza, I love pizza. Grilled cheese sandwiches, some days I just want grilled cheese sandwiches. I have a lot of real easy low-carb bread things that I can just make up in a minute or two, just a couple minutes to make a sandwich. Pork roast, I'm a big fan of roasted pork with roasted potatoes and carrots. Just depends on the day. I have a lot of favorites, and every day it's different. Have I ever been abroad? No. One, I won't get on an airplane. Two, I'm afraid of ships. That kind of limits where I can go. I've been to Canada a lot. Now we have to have passports ever since 9/11, but before that, we went back and forth just like it was another state, and I was in Canada a lot. That's about the closest you get to being abroad, I guess. Then Marnie, my dear sister Marnie Causey, asked, what did I do when I was single for activities? Well, when I wasn't working, this is when I was single before I had Casey, like when I was single before I got married to Casey's dad. I played my keyboard a lot, my piano. I had a big Fender Rhodes electric piano at that time. But I played that. I used to love to read. I went out with my friends several nights a week. A couple times a month we'd go to a nearby club so they could drink and dance. I didn't drink or dance, but I ate like snacks and watched the bands and just talked to my friends and had fun. And we went out because, there was a bunch of us single that worked where I worked. We went out like just to eat together and stuff, so I did stuff like that. I always liked going to the zoo too. I lived in the Toledo area and I loved going to the Toledo Zoo. When did I get my first bird? That would be when I married Casey's dad. I had a ferret, and he didn't like my ferret. And my godmother knew somebody at work who had a cockatiel that was looking for a home, but she wished she had a ferret. So we did a swap. I got my first cockatiel, Pokey, and he lived to be about 28, and then she got my ferret. And soon after that I got a cockatoo, a citron cockatoo crystal, and then it just evolved from there. Yes, I did mention that I took a trip alone with my dog one time. I had actually my dog and my cat. At that time I had a little Yorkie Pom, and she was only a few months old. And I had just bought a new minivan. So Casey was with her dad for a month that summer, and I took off and went all the way from Florida to upstate New York, 17 states, visited a lot of my IRC friends, went to a couple IRC meetups, and just kind of stopped when I wanted to stop and went when I wanted to go, and we just had a blast. And yeah, that was a trip of a lifetime, I think. Now, Kismet Blue, what was your business that you referred to? I had a business called Itty Bitty Birdie Bites, which was some foods I developed to help birds eat healthier diets. Pet birds, pet parrots specifically, eat healthier diets. Started out as just something that I've made to get my bird to eat my birds at that time eat healthier, and I had other friends who had similar issues with their birds, and so I started sending people some of this stuff, and a lot of people said, oh, you should sell this because it's great, it works, nothing else works, but this works. And so there was a couple people in bird forums online that also that did marketing for small companies, and they helped me get started, and it just really took off from there. Took off in an amazing way. Let's see. Does Pete have kids and grandkids? Yes, he has. Dave and Tom are his two sons. He's got, and his Tom is married to Edith, and they have Austin and Alexis, and they live not too far from Casey. Actually, they're kind of difficult to get a hold of, so we don't see them nearly as often as we'd like to. Let's see. When did I get saved? March 7th, 1976. And somebody later asked how that happened, so I'll wait and answer that then. How did Pete and I meet, and how long did we date before we got married? We met online, and I believe it was on the IRC. I could be wrong. But we met online. We chatted. We only lived about an hour from each other. We became good buddies, good pals. We met in person the first time in a Chinese restaurant. There was no romance or idea or hint of romance. It was just hanging out and being friends. He got to a point he needed a place to live. I happened to have at one end of my house a spare bedroom and bathroom that didn't get used, so he moved in there with my grandmother and Casey and I. And we just were all good buddies and pals, and then eventually we realized we were falling in love. We decided that if we were going to live together, we should probably get married, and so we did on August 31st, 2002. In a nutshell, my favorite dessert, strawberry shortcake, usually. Although, if a waitress were to come to me and say, we have strawberry shortcake, cheesecake, and double chocolate cake, which would you prefer? I'd have a really tough time figuring that out, but usually it's strawberry shortcake. Did we buy our home together after we got married? No, because I already had a house. So we lived in that house. Savannah Kier, and how did Pete and I meet? And I just covered that. Good question. I could go over it again, but I'm watching my free space go down and down and down on my screen there. Joanne Donato, how long do we plan on full-time RVing? We don't have a plan. We're going to do it as long as it's fun, as long as we want to, and if we decide we don't want to anymore, then we'll just quit. After we're done RVing, we will probably move into an apartment and you know, some like a senior housing type thing, apartment type place. That's close as we come, but just until we don't want to anymore. Do we plan to do out-of-state traveling in Canada? Yes to the out-of-state traveling. In fact, we're kind of hoping at the end of this year to go out-of-state. Canada, now that we have to have a passport and go through all that rigmarole, I'm not going to bother because it's just a big pain and we're not going to do it. But if not for that, yeah, we probably would. Nikki Martin, Deet Martin. Why do I low carb? I low carb for the incredible health benefits. And I'll talk more about that later because somebody else asked more specific questions about low carbing. But it is for the health benefit. It's not for weight loss, but for health. Let's see. And I've mentioned I had a stroke. How bad was it and how did I know I was having one? I got up one morning, October 16th, 2008. It was my last day of working, taking bug calls for the season. And I had a headache that was beyond all headaches. I have never had a headache like that. I called my boss and I told him I can't work today because I'm in way too much pain. I can't take calls. It was soon after that I lost the ability to speak, except for to say one syllable, no is all I could say. And my husband called 911, and that was how I knew I was having one. That was a bad day. I usually on October 16th, I tend to relive it over and over again, so I'll probably talk about it more on my October 16th vlog, but yeah, it was nasty. All right, Jody Watt. Where did Pete and I meet? Already covered that. What heartworm and flea preventative do you use on the boys? That is such a great question. For fleas, we use Frontline spray, which is different than the kind you put on there between their shoulder blades, but it's getting harder and harder to find. For heartworm, it is not as bad of a problem in northern Michigan as it is in other areas. We get them checked every year for heartworm. I've never had a dog with heartworm. They're indoors, and we haven't had an issue, even though I know downstate there's quite an issue. It's becoming worse, but we don't have that big of an issue. I'm not saying don't put your dog on preventative. I'm saying that's my choice not to put the chemicals in. Farrell in particular had reactions to things, and so I don't. Let me see. And then, do you think you'll ever travel to the central U.S.? Yes. We have plans to travel to the central U.S. probably next year. Branson, Missouri is somewhere I've always wanted to go. I would love to visit Janice Simpler, who's also in Missouri. But anytime we go in that area, I'll probably say we're going to be in this area, but it probably won't be till next year. But yes, we definitely do plan to. Where is she? Do the boys sleep with us? No, they don't. They sleep out here on the couch. When they sleep with us, we don't sleep very well. We worry about rolling onto them. We wake up all the time when they move. Curly has a tendency to push us to the edge. Pete's never been a fan for certain reasons that I won't go into here of dogs in the bed. And they're fine out here. They, if we take a nap during the day, they'll sleep with us, but not for all night. My favorite hymnal, I love old hymns. If I were to have to, I'm going to guess you meant hymn. If I had to say, I love I'll Fly Away. But I'm a huge fan of Southern gospel music, so I do it like with a real Southern gospel flair. But I love Crown Him with Many Crowns is another favorite from my Catholic days growing up Catholic. That was a big one. Those are my top two, though. Then Debbie, Scaredy 2. She wanted to know about what business I had and how I got into it, which I already covered. I had that for 8 years, so that was until the day I had my stroke. It was 2008, so I must have started it right at 2000. Maybe before I even moved to Lansing. It's hard to remember now. Things before the stroke are harder to remember. And how did I get into Bugman? I was, after I developed my heart disease and I had collapsed at work, they wouldn't let me come back without a note from my doctor. And because there was a lot of physical labor involved, my doctor wouldn't give me one. So I was looking for work. I was looking for a job, and it just so happened the Bugman was looking for, at that time, a part-time phone person. So the first year, I did it 3 days a week, or 2 days a week. I can't remember now. I think I said 3 last night, but I'm not 100% sure of that now. But anyway, a couple days a week anyway, part-time. My brother-in-law was a partner with the other owner, Bob and Don's my brother-in-law, so he thought of me, and I talked to Bob, and we decided I would start. And that was 2001, the season, so this is my 16th season. And I was full-time after the first year. And that's how I did it. That's how I got into it. After my stroke, did it take you a while to figure out what you were going to do about eating low carb, and how did I decide to do that? There was no question I was going to stay on low carb, high fat. I've been doing it since 2004. Amazing health benefits of many kinds. The stroke had nothing to do with the way I ate, everything to do with the same thing that causes my other cardiovascular disease, which is Prinzmetal's angina, in case anybody, just to save you from having to ask. So when I had the stroke, there was really no difference. The only thing was, for the couple months after my stroke, I had severe vertigo and head pain. And Pete really just had to take care of me. There wasn't anything I could really do on my own. And he was working full-time, taking care of the house, taking care of all the animals. We had a lot more birds at that time, and I think 3 or 4 dogs. So he was running kind of ragged, and he did not worry, as he shouldn't have had to, about how to plan and low-carb meals. So we ate what we ate, what he could manage in between everything else he was doing while I was trying to recover. So, and how did I come to the Lord? When I was in high school, I had some friends who became Christians and were praying for me and were talking to me about the Lord and about the changes in their lives, which I could see, but I didn't want any part of it, because in high school I was a very bad girl and I wanted to stay that way, and I didn't want to give up my badness, my bad whatever. So they, for at least a couple of years, they continually witnessed to me and prayed for me. Then one night, one of my friends and I were out one evening, and we were on our way home, and he stopped the car and he said, "We have to talk. I don't know, I know that, people have been praying for you and wanting you to come to the Lord and to know the Lord and live for Him." And he said, "But I have a question to ask you. You've been putting it off a long time, but tonight, if we get in an accident on the way home, where are you going to go for eternity?" And then we talked further about that, and I dedicated my life to Jesus that very night, March 7th, 1976. So then Phyllis Brown also asked how long I've been a Christian, and that would be, I don't know, is that 40 years? Yeah, 40 years. Wow, 40 years. I don't regret it. I'd never go back, just so you know. Stephanie T. Sky, were you ever expected to do as well as you seem to be doing today? And that's after the stroke. I didn't have expectations. The doctor said you never can tell. You never know how far somebody is going to progress. I still have issues that most people don't see, except Pete, Casey, my sister, but mostly Pete, because he lives with it. That are frustrating and whatever, but within a couple weeks I could swallow again without choking. Obviously I got my voice back, my words, my language back, and it was just at that time, nobody had expectations, just we don't know what's going to come back or how well you're going to do. So I don't think anybody had expectations either way. Is there a place that both Pete and I would love to visit by RV someday? We talked about this last night. We are more interested in visiting people than places. There's not really any place that we want to see, but there are people we want to see and people we want to visit, and the places that we go on the way there or when we're with them or whatever, those are the places, because it's really all about the people that we love or the people that we want to visit with or that we want to see more than the places, and we have quite a list. Do you hope to meet up with other RVing YouTubers? That would be fun. Yeah, that would be fun. I have another channel that I don't post on, but that I subscribe to a bunch of other RVing YouTubers, and yeah, that would be fun to do that. Do I know any other Christian RVing YouTubers? Yes, I do. There are groups within some of the, like we have a membership to Escapees and Good Sam, and they have different groups, and there are others too. And there are Christian groups. We don't belong to any, and we don't specifically seek out Christian RVers. But if they were having a rally or whatever, and we were nearby and wanted to go, I think that would be really fun. But yeah, just through the groups on the internet and stuff, we do know quite a number of Christian RVing YouTubers. So it's always fun to meet up with people that you have something in common with. I'd also love to meet up with some other musicians, especially Christian musicians, to be able to play with a bunch of other people. That would just be a blast. I would just love to be able to do that. So those are the questions that I got, and those are the answers, more or less, that I gave last night. And because the live turned out so badly, I will probably just take it down and replace it with this. This will be today's vlog, obviously. I got dinner in the oven, then I'll be busy the rest of the evening. But you guys, thanks a lot for the questions. And thanks a lot for your interest. And those of you who supported me last night in that trying to figure everything out, I appreciate all that too. I will try a different encoder at some point. I will try a better, faster internet connection at some point, maybe when we're parked at the house or whatever. And maybe I'll try it again. But until then, there's the answers to all your questions, and I so much appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I love vlogging, and just because of you and all the wonderful friends I've made and people I've met, and I just really appreciate all of you. And maybe we'll do another Q&A when I hit 2,000 daily vlogs. So meanwhile, you guys have a happy hump day, a wonderful Wednesday. Take care, God bless, and good night.